So, everybody's got the handout?
Yes.
Okay, we don't have any. Get one. This one, okay. That's great. All right, so, week 34. Sri Namamrita, the nectar of the holy name. Nama, the holy name. Amrita, nectar. And of course, we give respect to everything about Krishna because everything about Krishna is Krishna. Krishna is absolute. The only one we say absolute in math, you can say equals Krishna. Absolute means equals Krishna. Krishna's name is Krishna. Krishna's name equals Krishna. Krishna's pastime equals Krishna. Krishna's paraphernalia equals Krishna. Nobody can say like that. Nobody can be like that either. This is Krishna in that category by himself. That's why nobody is equal to him or certainly better than him. So coming back to this, all living entities, moving and non-moving, were liberated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's loud chanting of the holy name. This one statement means a whole lot. All living entities, moving and non-moving, were liberated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's loud chanting of the holy name. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God himself, Krishna and Radha combined, came as a devotee. Many people did not know he was God. He just came to teach how to be a devotee. Krishna himself in the Battle of Kurukshetra in the field before the war started taught Bhagavad Gita. So he spoke, he wasn't acting then. He was just teaching what can be done, the basic. But then Lord Chaitanya came to play the role of the devotee. Play the role of the devotee. So that's even more significant. That's more mercy shown by Sri Krishna that way. We came in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And Srimati Radharani is the personification of devotion service itself, Bhakti Devi. So in that mood, the Lord himself was the best devotee and the best example of being a devotee also. And of course in Kali Yuga, the prescribed yagya is the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So he was not only teaching, but he was also benefiting the living entities, moving and not moving, which means the entities that can move and then those like the trees and so on that stand still, they were all benefiting because all of them have souls. And so when the preaching comes, when the chanting comes out like that, from none other than the Supreme Lord himself, the purest chanting you can ever get, then it goes to the souls of all the living entities that are in the hearing distance from where he was chanting. So to come back to this, Lord Chaitanya said to Haridas Thakur, by the way, before we even continue this, Haridas Thakur, very important for Kali Yuga. Haridas Thakur is the Acharya for the holy name. Namacharya Haridas Thakur. So this section, I read through it, this handout concerns him quite a bit. We'll come back, it starts with it and it ends with him also. And then as time permits, we'll talk about Haridas Thakur, his life, how he came. Haridas Thakur was Lord Brahma. Came with Haridas Thakur. But okay, Lord Chaitanya said to Haridas Thakur, on this earth, there are many living entities. The Lord said, some moving and some not moving. What will happen to the trees, plants, insects, and other living entities? How will they be delivered from material bondage? So, two things here. Lord Chaitanya is asking Haridas Thakur, why would God ask a question? He knows everything. That's first to get hits. But the Lord, just like in the Battle of Kurukshetra, he could also have killed everybody. He let Arjuna do it. So he is the personality that likes to give credit to his devotees for doing things. That is a great sign of one that's not selfish. Because God can do it all. But he will ask sometimes his own devotee questions so that the devotee would answer the questions for the benefit of all that hear. If it's written later on, then like we are getting this part of Shastra, like that. And it's exchange of conversation, which the Lord likes to do. Everybody likes to converse. Okay, so he is very compassionate. He meaning Lord Chaitanya, but Haridas Thakur is also compassionate. Both of them are compassionate. So this question is for the benefit of those living entities in Kali Yuga in the material world who are undergoing bondage, whether they know it or not. And the biggest living entities that are in denial of a bondage are human beings. They really don't think that we're born. A lot of people think we're okay. I'm coming here and I'm looking at a nice building. Everybody's got a nice building and cars and so on. Nice. These are nice houses, nice prison houses. But do they know it's a prison house? There's a prison house, so they don't know it's a prison house. Because there's no bars. So prison, there's bars, you see there's no bars. But we have already studied the bars. It's called the force of gravity. That's Krishna's bars. That pulls you back to the earth. You jump, you have to go down. You ride a plane, you have to land. So you can't get out. You cannot. So it's a different kind of prison bar. Okay, or prison bars. That's Krishna's own unique way of imprisonment. So, how will these living entities be delivered from material bondage? Can you please give a handout to those that just came in? Okay. A couple of them, the Mataji over there. Hare Krishna.
You can come forward, everybody. Look.
Yeah, if you want to, you can. Definitely.
We don't have the mic stand in the right.
I'll try to talk loud, but
yeah.
No, I think I can hear you. It's up to you if you want to come forward. So Lord Chaitanya, just to recap quickly, he is God, come as a devotee in Kali Yuga. He came a little over 500 years ago. He's speaking to his pure devotee Haridas Thakur, saying that on this earth, there are many living entities. They are in material bondage. How can they be delivered? He's asking Haridas Thakur. So, Hare Krishna. So, Haridas Thakur, for those of you that gave him a hand, then are in the second paragraph. We just started in the second paragraph. Haridas Thakur replied, "My dear Lord, the deliverance of all moving and non-moving living entities takes place only by your mercy. You have already granted this mercy and delivered them." And the reason is the next sentence. "You have loudly chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and everyone, moving or not moving, has benefited by hearing it." Very, very, very important statement here. We are not pure, or I say I am not pure. Some of you may be pure and you're hiding, but you're pure. And some of us are not. Still, the mantra itself is pure. Therefore, if we chant, and we chant to the hearing, we chant out, then all living entities within the hearing range are also benefited from it. See, some of the living entities can chant, like us, we can chant. And some of us too can chant, but don't. That is non-devotees, they don't chant. And then there are living entities, but even if they wanted to chant, they can't anyway, because they can't speak this mantra. So all they can do is hear. Now you say, well, does a tree have ears? I don't know. I don't know of anything that science has said that. But the soul does have all the senses. And the soul is inside that body. It's just a body. Therefore, the soul benefits. So if that's the case, then all living entities, moving or non-moving, because they have souls, the mantra will benefit them anyway. Even if the physical body can't tell what's going on, like a tree can't tell what's going on. At least that's what we think, until science says something different. Okay, yeah, and still they benefit that way. Okay, so you've chanted the Hare Krishna mantra, and everyone moving or non-moving has benefited by hearing it. So indirectly to us, it's saying when we chant, we should chant out loud. When we chant out loud, there's two benefits. One, we can hear. If we ourselves hear, we tend to pay more attention. There are no hard and fast rules, as it says, for chanting, which means you can chant anytime, anywhere. But there is a way to chant that is more beneficial to us as well as living entities. If we chant out loud, definitely the living entities benefit. If we chant in our heads, they don't, because they don't hear anything. If we chant out loud, we're using our sense of hearing as well as speaking. Therefore, the more senses you hear, the more attention you pay to this. So it's advantageous to ourselves as well as the living entities, moving and non-moving, to chant out loud. And so Lord Chaitanya said there's no hard and fast rules, but there's a way to do it that's more beneficial. So it's always good to chant so that Lord Chaitanya was chanting out loudly because he wanted as many living entities in the air range to hear. That's why I was chanting loudly. We don't necessarily have to chant loudly, but we have to chant so we can hear. Okay? Because now if you go out and start chanting, Hare Krishna on top of your voice, somebody might call the police and says, there's a madman walking down the street. It might happen here. So you want to chant out loudly so you yourself can hear. But still, even with that, the living entities that are close by will also hear. And if you're chanting and walking, then wherever you're walking, all the living entities benefit from it. So it's that powerful. Okay, coming back to this. My Lord, the moving entities who have heard your loud Sankirtan have already been delivered from the bondage to the material world. And after the non-moving living entities like trees hear it, there's an echo. Actually, however, it is not an echo. It is a kirtan of the non-moving living entities. All this, although inconceivable, is possible by your mercy. To hear as a statement that scientists would probably fight it. Right? They would say, it's an echo. And it's not an echo. Well, it is an echo. So am I going after Haridas Thakur? Who am I to say that? We look at it as an echo. But if you, from physics, how you get an echo? The sound will bounce off something and come back. Well, that's something that does have Krishna in it, though. It does have Krishna in it. So whether we believe that that sound is coming back is from that entity or not, it's still from that place coming back. So it means it's got there in the first place. So what matters is that entity has benefited. They have benefited. We hear the sound back, we benefit. Because now we're hearing the mantra coming back at us too. So just the physics of it is beneficial for the living entity or not. Sometimes the pure devotees, they will describe something at a level that we don't understand because we're really not at that level. Because sometimes, Srila Prabhupada himself sometimes made statements like that. And when he made statements and you understand how a first-class devotee sees things, you would understand why he speaks that way. And I'll give one example. So sometimes when he's preaching, he gets into a very, very, very emotional, deep spiritual mode. And one time he's preaching, and I heard this because it was recorded, so now I get to hear it. And he said, so the land is Krishna, and the ocean is also Krishna, and the trees are Krishna. But then he was in that mode that everything belongs to Krishna, and Krishna's very, very personality is in that thing as a super soul anyway. Therefore, everything does in fact contain Krishna. And then, if everything contains Krishna, now he's looking at it as Krishna is absolute. And I already told you absolute means equals Krishna. So then he was saying everything equals Krishna. That's how he came out. And so, the high-level devotees, pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, sometimes they speak like that. And then, when they come down, they say, all right, well, follow my instructions, do this, do this, do this. Another time, Srila Prabhupada says, you can't imitate me. So we don't imitate. We just do what he tells us to do. Basically, that's how that goes. All right, so we can say Haridas Thakur is speaking at this. He did not even give credit to an echo. He just said it's coming from them. It's coming from them. Now, Sri Haridas Thakur is saying that by the loud chanting of Lord Chaitanya, who's God himself, these living entities, moving and non-moving, have already been liberated. This was an answer to the question that Lord Chaitanya asked Haridas Thakur, how are they going to be delivered from material bondage? He said the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you already have chanted. This is what delivers living entities. Now the mantra is potent. How we connect with the mantra, in other words, the level of our faith in it also matters. If we have little faith, then it has little effect. If we have a lot of faith, then it has great effect. So how we ourselves are, in other words, the extent of greed that we have to connect with the holy name also matters. That's why somebody can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
And another person can repeat the same thing. But then one of them is in ecstasy and the other one is not. It just depends on how much they want to connect with it. Krishna's name is very sweet. But it takes a while to feel the sweetness of Krishna's name. So Srila Prabhupada says, don't lose hope. Just gradually it gets better. Because for our conditioned, or for our conditioning, the way we are now, as conditioned souls, we have to be taught, because we have taken the material energy as the all in all that's going to solve our problems, and it does not. So we take Krishna's name in a service to Krishna, and by instructions, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do. We start practicing. And from the practicing, repeated practicing, the first thing that happens is it becomes a habit. Okay? There's no emotion in that, it's just a habit. And from the habit, that for material things, that's where it stops, really. But unless somebody just gets so attached to whatever thing you're doing. But from the habit, you begin to like doing it. And after a while, you begin to love doing it. This is all by the mercy of the Lord, especially when you get to the love. But because you've done it so much, first by obeying the instructions the spiritual master gives, okay, in the Shastra or when he's saying it directly, whatever it is that you got. And from there, it becoming a habit, and then from the habit, you begin to like what you're doing, and then from the like, you develop love from it, for it. So, when you develop love for it, Krishna's name is going to sound very different. It's the same name, but emotionally it's going to hit you like, it's going to really hit you. Okay, so it's there. And sometimes you can tell some devotees have experienced it, they want to talk about it, they usually don't want to talk about it, but it's definitely there. Krishna's name is, as Lord Chaitanya said in Shikshastaka, all of the energies of Krishna are in his name. It's very potent. And that's why Krishna's name delivers like that. And that's why Haridas Thakur says they delivered already just by hearing. Just by hearing. Let's go back to this. One thing before we got to put some notes here that I want to talk about. This is part of the pastime of Krishna and Balaram. Still related to this. Krishna's mercy. That wasn't even the chanting that Krishna did. This is a pastime where Krishna fought with a demon. Actually, it was a devotee that had turned demon. Just like Jai and Vijay turned demons for Krishna's pastime. His name is Panchajana. Okay? And the conch shell grew around him. The conch shell is called Panchajanya. It has a Y in it. Okay? Krishna fought him, took the conch shell. Then they were supposed to get, they had Guru Dakshin. They had an assignment to go get those who had died that related to the Guru to be taken back to the Guru. So it was a request. So Krishna and Balaram, they went to Yamaraj's abode. And before they got Yamaraj's attention, Krishna did that by blowing the conch shell very loudly. Yamaraj could meet his intuitive. He could immediately tell that Krishna had come. But another thing happened. Yamaraj's abode is where the hellish planets are. People are suffering there, or the entities are suffering there. Those who heard the conch shell were immediately released from the suffering and sent back to the spiritual world. Those who were in hell went not even to heaven, but they went to Vaikuntha planets, just by Krishna blowing the conch shell and them hearing it. So Krishna is very merciful. Srila Prabhupada, he's talked about Krishna being so kind, and he knows the extent of kindness Krishna is. Sometimes he gets emotional talk, he starts crying. There's so much kindness and mercy is there. So if we take advantage of this, he will take several steps towards us to move us towards going back home. He really wants, especially those who are saying yes to Krishna. Unless we ourselves want to stay here longer, he wants us back sooner than we even want to go. Now, so to come back to this, I hope you know where you are. When loud chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, that's where we are now. When loud chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is performed all over the world by those who follow in your footsteps, this is still Haridas Thakur talking. All living entities, moving and non-moving, dance in ecstatic devotional love. So you can imagine what's happening. By Srila Prabhupada's mercy, temples have been established all over the world. People go on Sankirtan. Last Saturday, there were youngsters, well, I can call them from 15 all the way up to 30. There's a program called Pandavasena. They all came, there were about 70 of them total, boys and young men and young women at Girinagri. And Saturday, my first daughter is 16 now, so she could get in there. The second daughter was very depressed because she couldn't. She's 12 years old now, 15 now. And they got a bus, school bus. They hired a school bus. And they went to Harrisburg, 2nd Street, Main Street, Harrisburg. And they did Harinam there. Such benefit to, to living entities there. They were chanting out loud. So it's kind of a little bit unnerving or surprising for them to see young men and young women. Usually they don't do this. And they just dressed modestly for one. They're not wearing tight anything. And then they have this, and then they're chanting very happy, blissfully. My daughter told me later on the next day, I saw her, she said, Daddy, I danced so much, my leg hurts. We were just having such fun. I can only imagine. But they did, which means all that chanting along 2nd Street, everybody that heard it benefited from it, whether they understood it or not. Their souls do, though. Their souls do. So they still benefit from it. And they're still there. They did to Tuesday. Tuesday is when it's going to be over. Girinagi is a busy place. Okay. My dear Lord, all the incidents that took place while you were going to Vrindavan, to the forest known as Jarikhanda, have been related to me by your servant Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Okay, so what happened in the Jarikhanda forest? So the Lord was on his way to, Lord Chaitanya, on his way to Vrindavan. And he was in ecstatic bliss, so he was chanting loudly as he was going. Literally, not like that, but he was actually singing like that. And then, dancing through the forest. And the animals heard it. And so, well, everybody heard it, of course. But the trees can't go anywhere. The animals can move around, though. So then they came close to him. And by the Lord's own potency, the animals also started chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is the Lord's mercy. This God can do anything. So, the other thing that was interesting is the tiger and the deer were next to each other. Normally that doesn't happen in the forest. The tiger gets close to the deer is gone, finished. But they were together chanting the holy name of the Lord, which means through that they were being delivered. So even the animals got benefit by what the Lord did. Now, to continue, when your devotee, Vasudeva Datta, submitted his plea at your lotus feet for the deliverance of all living entities, you accepted that request. So the request is there. Vasudeva Datta, he was very, very, very compassionate. And he knew, as a pure devotee, that the living entities in the material world were trying to make it, but really we were suffering, because material energy dictates everything that happens. And we have several examples of that. When you start and there's a storm, your plans are changed, right? There's a snowstorm, you can't go anywhere. There's God forbid, a hurricane, your house can be in trouble. Anything can happen at the time. So we actually on the bondage, even though we think that we're not. So, with all of this happening, and Vasudeva Datta knowing how wonderful it is in the spiritual world, these people. So he requested Lord Chaitanya that whatever that all the living entities have done, that has made it for them, as punishment to be in the material world. Put all of that punishment on him and release everybody to go back to the spiritual world. That's a heavy request, and it takes an extremely compassionate personality to make that kind of request. So Vasudeva Datta told Lord Chaitanya that, let them all go, and let me stay as long as it takes in the hellish planet to suffer all that they are supposed to suffer for what they've done, their karma. Lord Chaitanya was very, very, very emotional when he heard that. He said, I will release them. You don't have to go through this. But again, Lord Chaitanya has put out the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the deliverance is there. The deliverance is there. It's not like Lord Chaitanya does not want people to go back to the spiritual world. It's like if somebody is trying to pull you to the spiritual world or to a better place and you resist and pull back, whose fault is it? You don't want to go. Okay, so it's not like, the opportunity is there. The opportunity has been given. So those who want to take it, then they'll walk behind and go. And those who want to fight, Krishna is giving us free will. So if by a person's free will they say they don't want to go, then it doesn't mean that they weren't liberated. They were liberated and didn't take advantage of it. Only is what happens. Okay. So that's the rest of the living entities. All right. My dear Lord, you have accepted the form of a devotee just to deliver all fallen souls in this world. You have preached the loud chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and in this way freed all moving and non-moving living entities from material bondage. So when you say that, that's what that means. Opportunity has been given. It's on them, all living entities, to take advantage of it. By descending as an incarnation at Navadvip, so Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya, born in Navadvip, you, just like Krishna, have delivered all living entities of the universe. So Krishna also came in Kurukshetra time to deliver, but by instruction though, to Arjuna. So Bhagavad Gita is also a delivering too. The book, the instruction. The instruction itself is Krishna. And he gave the instruction. What things are, who we are, who he is, all of that's been said, and what to do. All the way to the end of abandon all varieties of religion and surrender to Krishna. Surrender. Okay, so the next is spiritual edification. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 5. You know where it is now, right? So the Sanskrit is there. And I'm going to request that we all read it together. And maybe before we read this, is there one more handout? This one to suggest?
Yes, there's a lot.
All right. One more handout? Yeah. Maybe you can show him where we are, because we're going to read the Sanskrit.
On the last page, first page and the last paragraph.
But last paragraph, okay. So Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 5. So let's read together. Aparenyam itaswanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yajidam dharyate jagat. Okay. So the translation is what follows. We got it one? Okay, Hare. Your children are Girinagri now, right? Your children are over there.
Yeah, they are attending the Pandav Sena.
The boys are in there having a great time. Alright, translation. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, let's say it together. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Who is that? Human beings. Human beings exploiting the resources of material inferior nature. So, by saying this, and it will be explained more by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, there's another superior energy of mind. So he's talking about the souls. The soul. That's a superior energy. Souls connected with superior energy. Anyway, let's go to the purport now. So here it is clearly mentioned that the living entities belong to the superior nature or energy of the Supreme Lord. The inferior energy is matter manifested in different elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So the Papa says in here, the superior energy, living entities, that is the souls. The inferior energy is matter. So the body is made of matter. Okay? So the body is of inferior energy. The soul is of superior energy. Pure nature, namely grows and earth, etc. So he didn't say the whole thing. The first five. Okay? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. That's gross. Okay. And subtle, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Okay, that's three. That's the way it is. Okay. So, both forms of material in nature, namely the gross and the subtle, are products of the inferior energy. The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the Supreme Lord, and it is due to this energy that the entire material world functions. Everything actually emanates from the superior energy. What did it say here? The cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by the superior energy. The superior energy is Krishna. And we are parts and parcels of Krishna. Little superior energies also, but very small compared to the Supreme Lord. We are also part and parcel at the same time. So, the living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the Supreme Lord, and it is due to this energy that the entire material world functions. This cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it's moved by the superior energy, the living entity. So we, the superior energy, and you can see we manipulate quite a bit here on this earth. Things that we use, changing things, literally little co-creators practically with this material energy. Okay? Energies are always controlled by the energetic Shaktiman. That's Krishna himself. So we are under his control. Therefore, the living entities, well, before I even finish, that's the sentence. The living entities are controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. They are never equally powerful as unintelligent men think. The distinction between the living entities and the Lord is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 87, text 30 as follows. Aparimita Durvastano Brito Yadi Sarvagatas. You can follow if you want. Tarhina Sasyetati Niyamo Dhruva Nitarata Ajane Chayanmayam Tan Avimuchya Niyanti Bhave Samam Rajinan Atam Yad Amatam Mata Dushtataya. O Supreme Eternal, if the embodied living entities were eternal and all-pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. If we're equal to Krishna, we won't be under his control. That's what the Mayavadis think, though. They think it is equal to Krishna at some point. And they call themselves Narayan, unfortunately. But if the living entities are accepted as minute energies of your lordship, then they are at once subject to your supreme control. Therefore, real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control, and that surrender will make them happy. So here's a clue to happiness. When we surrender to Krishna, we will be happy. As long as we're trying to live life away from Krishna and trying to do things on our own, the frustration will come. When we surrender to Krishna, the frustration doesn't mean anything. It's like the weather coming and going. That is the difference. In that constitutional position only can they be controllers. In other words, when we understand that we are surrendered to Krishna, then we're doing everything we're doing to serve Krishna. So that way we can make decisions. But the decisions are all in service to Krishna, though. Okay? Yeah. So that as soon as we understand that way, then Krishna can use us to do little things here and there. So we are little controllers. But the understanding is, and even higher than this, is how sometimes we plan things, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Devotees should never rigidly plan things, mentally that is, rigidly. You can go about what you want to do, to serve, do whatever you want to do, but there should always be, even the Muslims say, inshallah, right? If it's the Lord's will. Always that should be there. Understand that you're going to do it, but if the Lord wants to, let it happen. And if he doesn't want to, according to the way I planned, let it happen differently or stop. In other words, I'm just surrendered. I try to do. You have given me some brains, so I try to think of something to do. But whatever you want, you just use me. Like that. And you will always find out that even if you didn't understand why things changed from your plans, Later on, you will see that it made all the sense in the world, and you couldn't even figure it out at first, that it was going to be better that way. Sometimes, eventually you get to find it. Sooner or later, you see that Krishna actually put a better plan forward and used you to get that plan accomplished. That's the sweetness of surrender. But then you're happy most of the time. So, all right, it didn't work out. Krishna is in control. You just keep doing. Krishna is in control. Then a lot of things will make sense that way. So, in that constitutional position only, they can be controllers. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory that God, this is my bad, God and the living entities are equal in all respects, are actually guided by a faulty and polluted opinion. The Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by him. These living entities are his superior energy because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme. But they are never equal in quantity of power. So our quality is like that, the soul's quality, that is, not the body. The soul's quality is like that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But quantity were very, very, very minute. And therefore there's a restriction, natural restriction, in what a minute thing can do versus a large thing. For example, if we give or look at it in the analogy of an ocean, the ocean, and then a drop from the ocean. The quality of that drop of water from the ocean is the same thing as the quality of the whole ocean. Same thing. Except that the drop is so small compared to the ocean. The drop only can do so much. Maybe a few germs in there can live in the drop. Right? That's about all the drop can do. But even a fish cannot survive with that drop of water. Never mind even the boat trying to go over the water, that drop of water. All of that the drop of water can't. They can't do. It cannot do. But the Lord can do all of that. The big ocean can do all of that. So his quality, as he came, and when Indra caused problems, he lifted the Govardhan hill and held it up with one finger. You try doing that. You can't lift it, hold a branch of a tree from the Govardhan hill with one little finger. And he held the whole 7 days. So that's his power. That's his power. It's unlimited. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy, gross and subtle. We talked about the gross being the five and the subtle, mind, intelligence, and ego being the subtle part. The mind, intelligence, false ego being the subtle part, and the others being the gross part. The superior energy, the living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. I asked my spiritual master a question about this. I'll get to that because he explained some things to me about this. The real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy, he attains a stage called mukti or liberation. So I said I was going to talk about something that I asked my spiritual master. So this is Gideon Agri. He had given a class, and I was living with him at that same building. I was just living downstairs, my wife, and he was upstairs. So we take him back, and driving him back. And I have not much knowledge about what the soul is. So I wanted to know more about the soul. We've said this small, 1/10,000th, the tip of a hair now, and it's in the heart area. But what's inside the soul? I wanted to find out. So then I asked Maharaj, but we have a mind, and all of this. What about the soul? How does the soul reason things? He stops and says, the soul has a real mind. You have a fake mind, material type mind. The soul has a real mind. He didn't even let me finish, just interrupted and says, the soul has a real mind. I just kept quiet. Because that was my answer. I wanted to know. Does the soul think? Yes, absolutely. And it thinks only on the mode of goodness, pure goodness, nothing bad. Yeah, it's the material mind that it almost performs like the soul's mind, okay? Except that we just get all into the mode of passion, mode of ignorance, when the soul does not. The mind of the soul is the same. The soul expands. In the spiritual world, it's not minute. It's full, It has a full form, just like Krishna has a full form. But here, because we have been put in this jail, material world, then it's been squished to this. Sometimes you can imagine, how can the soul be squished to a small like that? Well, the soul is not material. You can't squish material, but the soul is not material. It's anti-material. So it can be big, it can be little. It's possible. You can't do that with the physical body, but you can with the soul. So, where am I? Okay, nuclear liberation. All right. The false ego. Under the influence of material illusion, things, I am matter, and material acquisitions are mine. This is what the advertising companies, try to get us to think. Everything we acquire is for us. Is it? We die, don't we? Is it for us then? It's in the case. It's not for us anymore. If the government doesn't come after you, death will come after you. They still lose it. Okay, so it really isn't us. His actual position is realized when he's liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of his becoming one in all respects with God. So, it is, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he is the Supreme Lord. We are part and parcels of him as far as the soul is concerned. That's a superior energy. But we are very little. And he's the controller. But he relates to us in love, though. He's given us free will. Some people, and then one, Dhanavir Goswami brought up this point, and I know a number of people think about it, says, why are we suffering so much if Krishna has everything to do with creation and even the spiritual world? How come he didn't just leave us in the spiritual world so that we could just enjoy it? Why we come here? And then he asked the question, and then he answered also. How can he do that and call himself a lover and we a lover of him? You cannot control a person you want love from. But the person to love you, if you become a controller, then you really got a victim on your hand, not a lover. Because you tell him everything. I did this, and you just say yes sir the whole time. Is that love? Not really. Love has to have free will for you to want to do. So Krishna just leaves us. And if we don't, then we're in the material world. And if we do, then we're in the spiritual world. That's why he allows it like that. Yeah. So don't blame Krishna. We didn't use it properly. We've forgotten what we did. And if we want to, you can do whatever it is. Some people sometimes they go through this metaphysical thing of trying to find out what their last life was. All the answers will be there. I'll just give one example. Dhritarashtra in Hastinapur. He was really quite disappointed that he was born blind. Here is all this opulence. First, he got kicked in a certain way because he was the oldest, but they bypassed him when it came to who should be the king, and they gave it to Pandu. Pandu was his younger brother, because he could see, and Dhritarashtra couldn't, so then they passed him by. That was the first time I heard his feelings. He went along with it, but he never really forgot that. And especially to Gandhari, his wife, he complained a lot. Every time he was moaning about my vision is dark, and I don't have this, I don't have that. Why this? So at some point he asked Krishna, why was I born blind? He put me in this nice palace, and I can't see anything. I'm supposed to be the emperor of the world, but I can't even see. So Krishna explained, 50 lifetimes ago, Dhritarashtra, you were a hunter. And in the forest, you shot a flaming arrow with fire in the tip, at a nest full of birds. What the hunter need with birds? He shot, just to practice, he shot a flaming arrow. Now, it wasn't Kali Yuga. The bird had 100 little birds, big nest. Shot it, the nest burned, all 100 birds, little birds died. The mother bird escaped, flew away, but the mother bird was blinded. Got blind from that same arrow in the fire. So of course he didn't have to add any more, because that's why you're blind this lifetime. Okay? And you have also 100 sons. What happened to the 100 sons? They all got killed in Battle of Kurukshetra. He just had to pay back. So he had to keep quiet because This was lifetime before, as he said, 50 lifetimes back. So actually, he went through so many other bodies until he got to a point where this particular one that he had done, he had to pay for. Yeah. So obviously, he did very good things too. Otherwise, he wouldn't wind up in a palace. But still, it was time to deal with what he did with those birds. So that's why he became blind. So you really can't blame Krishna. Anything is going wrong, that we are doing it or something has happened that we pay him back. But once you become a devotee and take this seriously, so many things in the past get removed. That is the great thing, the mercy of the Lord. You don't have to go through karma then. And the Lord himself takes care of your spiritual account, practically. Now, where are we? Okay. The false, okay. His actual position is realized when he's liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of his becoming one in all respects with God. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms the living entity to be only one of the multi-energies of Krishna, and when this energy is freed from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna conscious or liberated. So the last thing here is freed from material contamination. We use material things. We're in the material world. We have a material body, we use material things, but the consciousness has to be that for Krishna. Let's use it to serve Krishna. Like we're here in Dear Krishna Prabhu and Tunga Vidya Mataji's home, using his house for congregation Sadhu Sangha to serve Krishna. So that's the best thing to do, even while we're here. And once you think that way, you're already liberated. Mentally, it's only a question of time to go back. The only thing standing between you and going back is just time. And if we delay more, then you might go to another physical body, but eventually you'll go back to spiritual world. More serious people will go after this body and dilly-dally a little bit. You know, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj said, that's Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master. When one says yes to Krishna, maximum 3 lifetimes, 3 more lifetimes. The devotees heard this in Giriraj, my spiritual master said it, they go, 3 lifetimes? I'm already suffering this lifetime. You have to come back again. And my spiritual master said, you know how many millions of lifetimes you've been here? 3 is not a lot. But who says you have to have 3? If you take it seriously, you're leaving after this one. This is just an average you put out. But basically, it's just to make the point that even the one that's slowest in trying to be warm up to Krishna consciousness, usually about 3 lifetimes they go on. Because Krishna gives a lot of mercy anyway. A lot of mercy anyway. So, you know, people who are impure still go back to spiritual world. I know devotees who have been told that Papa disciple, one in Alachua, that it was confirmed. Spiritual masters sometimes do that, to confirm that they're going back to the spiritual world. And I know some of the things she did were bad. I know it. It did it to me, so I mean, no, I still do. She got a lot. Because she was so helpful into service. She sacrificed so much for Srila Prabhupada's mission. So there's so much mercy is there. So basically it's sincerity. We are, full of faults, but if we're very sincere, then the chances are very high that they'll allow you back to spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
So, is Boga going to be offered, right? Later? I don't know. I'm just, because it's 12 now.
Yeah.
Boga will come, so we can continue?
Yeah, we can continue.
Okay. So, what 2 energies are the living entities made up of? What 2 energies? Superior and inferior. 2. Okay. The Sanskrit for that superior is called Antaranga Shakti. Antaranga Shakti. Superior. Or it's also the spiritual energy of the Lord. And then Bahiranga Shakti, which is the inferior energy or the material energy. It's also called the separated energy of the Lord. Okay. Name which aspects of a living entity belong to each of the energies. So, which aspects? Superior energy, which part of us is superior energy? The soul. Which part of us is inferior energy? Body. So if you say body and soul, basically they say inferior and superior energy. Basically it's the same thing. Alright. Why is the living entity always controlled and not independent? This is a question that you can answer from different angles. It doesn't have to be particular. Whatever your realization is. Why are we controlled and not independent? Anybody? A lot of us think we're independent, though. Makes the question difficult. Why are we controlled and not independent? You have some independence, it's called free will, but you can only do so much of free will. Anyone?
We are all not yet liberated.
We're not liberated, okay. That's one way to look at it, yeah. A liberated person is still controlled, though. But they love it. Because they are surrendered, right? So it doesn't matter.
Our soul is part of the superior energy, so it's controlled.
The soul is part of superior energy, and Krishna is supreme of the superior energy. So then everything is under his control.
Indirectly control.
Okay, yeah. Any other way to answer it? Just two questions. You can't go wrong with this. It's just you literally can't go wrong with this one. Okay. All right. That's good. We are controlled because Krishna owns the superior energy as well as the inferior energy, and that's all there is. So whichever you plug into superior energy if you want to be with Krishna, or plugging in with inferior energy if you want to be Maya, but it's all his. It's all his. So there's no getting around. The best thing is to learn how to love him, and then you really would be connected to his superior energy and actually be happier that way. The happiness we're talking about is the internal happiness, so from the soul, not material happiness. All right. Why do the living entities forget that they are controlled by the Lord? Why do they forget? Or you can even answer, what causes them to forget? I know this is a different question, but if you can answer. Yeah.
I was just thinking about the first question that you asked.
Okay, yeah, let's go back to the first question.
About the control. So I think the answer is like, as you said, it's controlled because both the superior and the inferior energy is the giving of the Lord.
Yeah.
You choose. You have the free will to choose. Oh, okay, I want to go behind material bondage.
Or
you are.
I like what you just said bondage, I like that.
Or how would we put it?
Or the superior energy.
The
yeah.
superior energy is
Yeah.
towards spiritual edification and
Yeah.
towards the path. So it is the free will that the Lord has given us to make the choice between
Yeah.
the two.
That's why there is this energy called, and even though it's not really energy, the energies are superior and inferior, but there's tatashta, marginal energy. The marginal energy, the living entity is called marginal energy only because he has a choice to go superior or inferior. Okay? But there really is only superior and inferior. When there's a choice, it's given that energy because we can go either way. Okay? It's marginal. So if you heard of marginal, it's just really at the border of superior and inferior. We can reach either way. Okay? So why do living entities forget? If I answered in one answer, Maya. Maya tells us it's wonderful here. Oh, yeah, it's wonderful here. It isn't, but he's telling us that's Maya's department. When can we be called liberated or fully Krishna conscious? When can we be called liberated or fully Krishna conscious? I really hope you'll answer this and answer it correctly. There's only one word actually.
God's will.
God's will, okay.
We
No,
just surrender to God.
good, that's the word. As soon as you surrender, then you are Krishna conscious. God doesn't make you surrender. He just tells us like that. If you want to do it, that's your free will. But if you do that, if you surrender to Krishna, you're fully Krishna conscious then. Even full of mistakes, still your intention is always to serve though. And Krishna just wants what your heart is saying. That's all that matters. You're just going to make a lot of mistakes. That's human nature. So if you surrender, then that's it. So we all have to learn how to surrender. It comes in different ways. As long as that intent is there, we are liberated. And it's just only a matter of time, Krishna would say, yeah, he meant well. Go back to Pritola. Okay, this next question is application. That's your own sharing. Okay. Do you experience that you're gradually becoming liberated from the influence of material energy? Share in what ways this is happening. Remember, the question is actually assuming that the answer is yes, because it's telling you share in what ways. Do you experience you gradually becoming liberated? So I'll answer for everybody, and then you can do your individual thing. If you would come here You are gradually being liberated. So you thought to leave everything to come here. That alone shows that you want to connect with Krishna. Okay, so that's my first answer. Now you guys can do details now. Share in what ways. And don't be shy, we're all family here. So, anyone want to start with the Mataji's maybe? I want to know, I'm curious. I'm curious. The Mataji? What are you doing? What do you do in Krishna consciousness?
I do mala.
You do mala, japa, and
Aarti, gives to Aarti.
Aarti,
Yeah.
see, take some more examples.
Yeah. We do boka.
Offering boga, yeah. And do you feel like it's an imposition? You know when I say it, you feel that it's burdensome to do that, or you just do it because,
Enjoy.
Earlier it was like a burden, like we have to do it, we have to do it.
okay.
Now
Initially,
it's like a habit, like no, we didn't give it to God, we should first give it to
okay, so you had a habit, and that's a lot of steps forward. Okay. Mataji, you're laughing, you're smiling next to it, which means it answers some of your questions, right? Okay. Add more to it, add more, add more. The Lord is eating now. What else is happening? Oh, no, not you, but what's your name?
Shaili,
Shaili, okay. Jai Shaili.
sometimes we read the books, Bhagavad Gita.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ah, wonderful. Srila Prabhupada said the first thing to do is to hear. I remember that, just remember like, back to the thing, the first thing, he didn't say it was the most important, he says the first thing though is to hear. Why? Because as soon as you make your mind up to hear, then Krishna arranges for all the things that's important for your growth to come through the hearing. As soon as you open that door, Krishna will flood a lot of things that will help you to grow. But if you don't hear, what can he do? You have your free will. So hearing is very important. Thank you for bringing it up. Mataji? I'm smiling at you.
Try to.
Yeah, you don't have to be very modest. You can say whatever is happening at home with the children. So I know what your boys are doing.
Talk
But
about Krishna,
You
Krishna
talk-
stories.
okay, it doesn't have to be different from what somebody else said. If you're doing the same thing, it's fine.
So yeah, I don't think she has to say anything. Her son is example of what they are doing.
The son is example. So you and Mother Yashoda, you just give birth to Krishna, everything is fine. Okay, any other Prabhus? Again, don't be shy. And even if it's something that it's been said already, you're doing it, then it's fine. You're doing it, yeah. Because it says here, I'm just doing what it says, sharing what is happening.
Visiting the holy places, Vrindavan.
Ah, okay. And you view the
Just
monkeys.
returning
Huh?
from there.
You see the monkeys. The monkeys are supposed to be sages in previous lifetimes, by the way. It's not an accident that they did. Even though they can be mischievous, but it's not an accident that they did. There's no accident. Yeah, by the way, yeah. Anybody else just chime in, whatever. Anyway, even if it's just one thing. Anyone? See, I can see everybody smiling, so it means something is there. One more example from anybody.
Associating with the devotees.
Associating with devotees is very important. Prabhu, I knew you were going to say something, and then he started.
When my personal experience is that when I used to do some bigger things, I feel great that I have done it. But later on in my life, I understand that I am only a screwdriver. So hand is somebody else. He is actually driving the. I realized it later. But in my initial stage, I used to think that I am doing everything. I
Yeah,
am doing everything.
yeah. That is a surrendered soul. That's exactly what it means. Because it says, you are not the doer. You're not the doer. Krishna uses us to do. The way to prove that is look at it from the other side. When you get stopped from doing, you wish you could do it, but you can't. Then you realize you weren't to do it anyway. That's what proves it. Every time we say, oh, we can do this, and tomorrow I'm going to do that, yeah, and then one day there's a change of fall, then that's really an evidence. So if you yourself had the realization that it's actually being done through you, as you say, you're the screwdriver. I call myself a mouthpiece when I'm talking. Again, this is being done through Krishna. Okay, this is wonderful. Yeah,
I have a different perspective.
that could go ahead.
Like, no, I mean, after getting more, I mean, I won't say as I start doing more of this japa, I feel that the bondage that even at workplace, for example, I feel that, okay, I should do the right thing, whether it hurts people or the right thing is more important.
Yes.
And the Lord will take care of the course. I mean, whatever happens, the result is not what I'm worried. I should do the right thing.
Wonderful.
And
That's
gives
also
us-
another sign of surrender. Yeah, surrender to the Lord.
One,
So many examples come. Yeah.
one example, probably each and every devotee here, including kids, we are going to celebrate Janmashtami on September. So everybody is
What day
full-heartedly.
is September? Do you know? We have-
20th September, Saturday.
20th
I will send
September.
you the communication.
What day is it?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now let's put it at the back of our mind.
Each and every one of the devotees, they are trying
helping
to help
the
you
help
with the
get it. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's what happens in the spiritual world. One party after another, but just everybody joins. There's no regular work, no paycheck, nothing. They all welcome. but it is one party after another, an arrangement for it.
In our case, the only person who will get the paycheck is Siddharth Prabhu.
Okay.
He's collecting all the money.
I'm going by. If we take the boga off, we'll stop.
Yes.
Okay. As
Yeah.
long as boga's here, we can't do the arti. We cannot. So, and don't extend the boga just because of this. Please do what you have to do.
We can quickly cover.
Yeah, preaching is the essence. Okay. Preaching is the essence. Is Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, page 35. It's okay. Right. Distribution of transcendental knowledge is the highest welfare work. Please make sure you have this at the back, wear it at the back of your mind. Distribution of transcendental knowledge is the highest welfare work. Transcendental knowledge is what frees us from the material world and takes us back to the spiritual world. So in any kind of way, as Srila Prabhupada says, he's funny sometimes, he makes some statements. He said, see, everybody tried to get them to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He was telling Buddhists as he was preaching. Even if you see somebody who is so puffed up, he says, then he just played this role. He says, my dear sir, you are a nice man. You should chant Hare Krishna. So he said, actually I didn't say all of it, I'll say everything he said. He said, my dear sir, you are a nice man, even though he's fool number one. But you should chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In other words, you know that he's actually steeped in the material energy. That's what he meant by fool number one. But try to get them to chant, or just be a good person yourself. That says more than anything else. You can't get everybody to say Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You can't. Okay, some people just want to be in the material world a little longer, so what to do? But being in a mode of goodness the whole time, people will like you. If people hate you for being in a mode of goodness, well, they're in a mode of ignorance themselves. But if you act nice, people will actually like you, and therefore, whatever, people are connected with religion in different ways in religion. So whichever one you're connected with, they would definitely think that whatever religion you're with is also good, because whatever they're teaching you, you're acting it and you're a nice person. So actually your behavior says a lot. That's why it says stay away from anger, stay away from greed, stay away from those kind of things. Stay away from those. Okay, so I have to apologize, we weren't able to get to the end. But we'll have to stop here. There's so many things that I wanted to talk about. But what do you think?
We can.
Is it all right to
Yeah.
continue to the end? Okay. Then we'll do that. Prithu Maharaj continued. How can such persons who have rendered unlimited service by explaining the path of self-realization to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and whose explanations are given for our enlightenment with complete conviction and Vedic evidence, be repaid except by folded palms containing water for their satisfaction. Such great personalities can be satisfied only by their own activities, which are distributed among human society out of their unlimited mercy. So basically, all it's saying here, when the path of self-explanation, self-realization is explained, and even when we just say, you get somebody to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or you give somebody prasadam, even if they don't know it is prasadam, still it helps to jumpstart their devotional life. So people doing this, Prithu Maharaj is saying, Prithu Maharaj is also an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it's a whole history behind it, but we don't have much time now. Prithu and Archie, his wife is Archie. He's saying that it's so great to do this, to give self-realization, that there is nothing to, it's great enough to repay what people who do that. Now that we can either just say thank you. Great personalities of the material world are very eager to render welfare service to human society. But actually no one can render better service than one who distributes the knowledge of spiritual realization in relation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why is that? Because that's the one thing that takes us out of the bondage of the material world. Everything else is more the goodness to try to make life a little better, so you open a bigger hospital, people all of that. But then getting out of the material world, that knowledge that gets you out is the best thing that can happen, and that is spiritual enlightenment. All living entities are within the clutches of illusory energy. They forget their real identity, which is the soul. They hover in material existence. They transmigrate from one body to another in search of a peaceful life. 8,400,000 types of bodies. And one devotee said, why are there 8,400,000 types of bodies? Saswati Maharaj explained it. It's because the living entity has 8,400,000 desires. And so Krishna has provided a body for all of that. Hopefully we don't have any. One Krishna only. Anyway, since these living entities have very little knowledge of self-realization, they are not getting any relief, although they're very anxious to attain peace of mind and substantial happiness. Isn't that happening? United Nations, where is it getting? Nowhere. There are wars in the United Nations. We're all going to get together and talk about how to live peacefully. It's not working. Saintly persons like the Kumaras, Narada, Prahlad, Janaka, Sukadeva Goswami, Kapila Dev, as well as the followers of such authorities as the Vaishnavacharyas, the followers, and their servants, they can all render a valuable service to humanity by teaching this knowledge, disseminating the knowledge of the relationship between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He's the top and we are eternal servants of it. We need to understand that. Such knowledge is a perfect benediction for humanity. So now we know Krishna is the Supreme. We are tiny, 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 tiny parts of Krishna with the superior energy. That's the soul. And the inferior energy is this body. And now, when we surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we get to go back. Because this is a place of bondage. Srila Prabhupada ki, Vaishnava Thakur ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Thank you for tolerating me. Although I had fun talking to you guys, I learned from it too. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you do. Anybody has a question? Okay. So if not, even while we're having prasadam, if you want to make some comments, you definitely can. That'll be good. And you might teach me something. So I want to hear. Your realizations. Some people didn't talk about it. I'd like to hear if you care to talk about something. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.
Jaya Shri Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Everyone. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Laddu Gopal Jaya Laddu Gopal Makhan Chora Laddu Gopal Jaya Laddu Gopal Jaya Laddu Gopal Makhan Chora Jaya Radha Raman Radha Raman Radhe Radhe Jaya Radha Raman Radha Raman Radhe Radhe Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Srinath Ji Srinath Ji Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Srinath Ji Srinath Ji Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Patita Pavan Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Patita Pavan Gauranitai Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Prabhupada Astotra Sata Shishimad Divine Grace Sri BhaktiVriksha Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Nitya Lila Vishnu Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Prabhupada Astotra Sata Shishimad Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Nama Acharya Brahmacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Shri Prabhupada Ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी को भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपन श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोपालन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की नवद्वीप धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई की जमुना माई की तुलसी देवी की भक्ति देवी की वैष्णव ठाकुर की सामवेद भक्तवृंद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
भगवान की जय, लाल महाराज की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदी।
Mahaprasade Govinde,
महाप्रसादे गोविंदे,
Namo Brahmane Vaishnave,
नाम ब्राह्मणे वैष्णवे,
Salpa Punyavatam Rajan,
स्वल्प पुण्यवतम राजा,
Vishwasane Vijayate,
विश्वासदेव जयते
Sharida Vidyajal,
शरीरा विद्याजा
Gurindriya Kahika, Shivapade Vishatave, Paramati Jivati, Gopalbhai Sundarmati, Bhakti Thakur Sansare, Krishna Balu Dayomoy, Kori Vare Jivajai, Swaprashadam Nilogai, Sri Ganda Mitra Bhavo, Radha Krishna Gunagao, Devadaka Chaitanya Nidai, Candy Night, Candy Night, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Mahaprasad ki, Om Premanandi.
for now we'll sing the next Nursing Arti, right? He's getting ready. Good job, Pranav. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your wonderful class.
Thank you.
Just, we have seen you for a long time, since a long time now.
Am I wrong? Correct me if I am, but I looked in the schedule. Who's coming next week? This is
was Padmanath Prabhuji's
yeah.
turn.
Then he asked me to do.
Yeah, so
Okay.
probably I will double check with him, but probably he'll come next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't mind coming again. I'm actually on the schedule to come next week.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will double check with him what his
Right.
schedule is.
Yeah, no problem.
Uh,
But if he wants me to come and you tolerate me and I'll come again.
Absolutely,
No problem.
it's our pleasure.
No, we'll see.
So,
Love is quite out there, so.
we are having Harishbhag Rath Yatra on 30th of August. It's Saturday, so it's month end. So like Gita Devi Rath Yatra last week, will be in Harishbhag. So everybody can plan their schedule accordingly. It will be from noon to evening 6 o'clock. And then, of course, 20th September we are having our Janmashtami program. So we have a meeting after Prashadam. Haribol. Thank you.
Email will follow.
You devotees really appreciate the service that you did for Rath Yatra. Some of them put it on Facebook, but I figured to tell you they're very happy. Those who
They
came.
saw the pictures.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Away from the TV.
रेडी हो गया